G'day and welcome to Garden Clinic TV. Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how you can have success with the tips that I've learnt over, well, a lifetime of growing bulbs. And I must admit, it's changed quite a bit over the last 10 years because the variety of bulbs has increased dramatically and not everybody is living with a garden. So your bulb display, yep, whether you've got a veranda, a deck or just a windowsill, I can guarantee you will have a fantastic spring display with bulbs. And it really is easy if you follow these couple of tips. Now, okay, firstly, you can see on many of the labels it says guaranteed to flower. Now, the reason for that is that the bulb growers, mainly in Tasmania and in Victoria, are really spending a lot of time to get the embryo of the flower in the base of that bulb by December. Yeah, a couple of months ago. So by the end of spring, they start feeding their bulbs up, as you should too, by the way, when they finish, so that flower in the embryo stage is already there at the base of the bulb. So you could almost put it on a windowsill by itself and it'll still flower. That's how easy it is. But if you give it extra care, and I'll show you how, you'll have a fantastic display. Now, the first thing is, I'm going to put mine into pots, and I've had a lot of success both in the garden and in pots. And I must admit, the pot display is a little bit more manageable and it creates a really great show later on in spring. Yeah, you need a bit of patience. That's what gardening is all about. Plant now, enjoy. After a bit of patience and time, you'll enjoy the spring display later. Now, I've got a nice shallow pot here with a good drainage hole in the bottom because bulbs hate wet feet. So I'm going to put a little bit of screen drainage in the bottom there. It's a bit of fly screen. That'll just stop all the soil sort of leaking through and damaging your terrazzo tiles or your deck or whatever. Okay, now add a bit of potting mix. Now make sure you get a good quality potting mix. It's no use going for the B grade. Go for A+ if you can get hold of it. Now, as I mentioned, bulbs like really good drainage and hate wet feet. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of crushed gravel, crushed scoria. Now, it's sold, and mix that in with the soil. It's sold with a couple of different names. Now, you can see the sort of percentage that I'm adding there, mainly in the bottom, so that we've got really good drainage at the base, because that's where the roots of the bulbs are going to be. Extra handful. Now let's get some potting mix in there. Okay, now I don't want to cut too much further because I want my bulbs to start shining. Okay, now what I've got is Ice King daffodils, which is a beautiful double white with a little bit of orange in the centre. It is a double. Not everyone likes doubles, but if you want that display in a pot, then have a look around for that one in your garden centre. Then I'm going to surround that with Accent, which is a single white daffodil with a lovely orange corolla in the centre, a lovely tube of orange in the centre. So it's basically a whitish sort of display. And then I'm going to overplant it with grape hyacinths, which is a great cobalt blue, beautiful blue, smaller flowers, and I'm going to plant those over the top. But I got a little tip for you right at the end that really enhances the display instantly while you're patiently waiting for spring to arrive. Okay, so let's put our Ice King daffodils. Now, just before I put those in the centre, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of fertiliser now and just mix that in with the soil. You don't need much. This is mainly to get good foliage. The flower is already in the bulb, as I mentioned, so if you get good healthy foliage, and that's about the amount that you need, and it also, as it slowly breaks down over time in spring and into late spring and early summer, it's feeding the bulb for next year's flowers. That's how you get a guaranteed display for the second year running. A little bit of extra. Okay, now I'll just cover that with a little bit of potting mix so it's not sitting right on the fertiliser. Mix it all in. Now my Ice King, which is that double white, I'm just going to plant those in the centre. Now there's only half a dozen bulbs there, and you can see that I've planted them fairly close together. That's the sort of display I'm looking for. If you have bulb here and a bulb there, it's going to look sparse. It doesn't have that real zing of display in spring that you want, especially at your front door as people come in for a spring function or a spring party at home, or out on the balcony where you're just looking at them. Or in the case where I'll show you later what we did last year. So, okay, they're in. A little bit of soil over the top of those, a bit of potting mix, just to cover them over. Now, around the outside, I'm going to plant the accent, which is the single white. Okay, what is there, half a dozen bulbs there, and there's 3 of them are actually doubled, so I might even get 2 flowers out of the 2 bulbs in those little clusters. A little bit more of the crushed gravel, and then let's put in the potting mix. Now, the advantage of using a good quality potting mix is that quite a few of them will have slow release fertiliser already in it. And don't be too stingy and then use last year's potting mix. The fertiliser's gone, the potting mix is starting to break down, and it's losing its texture and quality and its value. Okay, now just press that down gently, not too hard. Now I've got all my little blue grape hyacinths to pop in. Okay, so you can see, little fella's escaping there, back you go fella. Now you can see what the percentage is. There's about 1 centimetre or 2 between each of the little bulbs. Now there's 30 bulbs there, so that's about the right number you want, because the flowers are really quite spectacular and the foliage is sort of strappy green, and then you've got the daffodils coming up through it. It's a great display. Okay, let's cover those up. Okay. Now, you might think that's the end. And we just put this in a corner, keep it just moist. Needs to be in full sun. But there's another twist that I want to show you to give you instant gratification from your multi-planted bulb pot. Okay, now this is my little surprise twist. These are, well, they're sold as violas, a little small version of the pansies. But in fact, they've been around, well, since the 30s and 40s. They're called heartsies, and I just love them. They spread in the garden, by the way. If you've got a garden bed, just plant a couple and leave them. You'll have seeds forever. And they are great little ground cover with really cheery little flowers. Now, these are just the seasonal seedlings that are just coming into the market. And there's yellows and purples, white and purples, and combinations of those. And they'll start flowering, as you can see, straight away. So basically, we just squeeze the bottom of the pot, pull the little tube out, and then pop those in straight on top. And finally, I'll give it all a bit of a drink. Now I've put a bit of seaweed into here, good quality seaweed. You don't need any other fertiliser because I've put that rose fertiliser in the bottom of the pot, and these all the roots of the bulbs and the annuals, the bedding flowers, will go down into the potting mix, down into the fertiliser. And then the seaweed is basically just to settle the roots down and get them growing. See, even the birds are happy. Right, okay, that's how I can ensure that you'll have great success and a fabulous flower display on your windowsill, on a veranda, a deck, at the steps going into the front of your house, or just anywhere in your garden. Now, the more you multiply the pots and multiply the combination of flowers, the greater the display. Now, this is what we did a couple of years ago, and we've repeated it ever since. Look at the display, aren't they beautiful? A whole range of, and we've got hyacinths and daffodils and a whole range of bulbs in there, even some fabulous tulips. And of course, tulips, like all of the others, are guaranteed to at least flower once you plant them and have a fantastic spring display. I hope you've enjoyed those couple of tips. Follow those ideas and you'll have success as well in your garden or on your balcony. If you've liked this segment, definitely like us and subscribe to Garden Clinic TV. And I really love having a chat to you every couple of days here on the program.